Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about recent important news at their companies. With us today, I'm happy to have Bernard Tudillon. He's chairman and CEO of Uragold. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol UBR. Now, for those of you who are new to the story, and there might be some of you, but it's been a market darling for the rest of us, Uragold is the largest holder of high purity quartz properties in Quebec. Now, despite the abundance of quartz, very few deposits are suitable for high purity applications. High purity quartz supplies are tightening, prices are rising, and exponential growth is forecast. Quartz from one of their properties was successfully passed rigorous testing protocols of a major silicon metal producer, confirming that the company's material is highly suited for their silicon metal production. However, Uragold is now endeavoring to become a vertically integrated producer of high purity silicon metal, solar grade silicon metal, amongst others, thanks to its worldwide exclusive license from Pyrogenesis, whose technology is capable of providing one-step transformation of Uragold's quartz into these high-value products. If they're successful, Uragold will potentially be able to manufacture high-value material for the same operating costs presently being paid by traditional producers to make metallurgical grade silicon. So with us today to talk about this is Bernard. Bernard, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. We have a lot of things to talk about.
All right. Well, a lot of that we have to talk about has to do with the press release that you put out today. And I'm going to read the headline here. PureVap produces pure silicon metal material that exceeds first lab threshold, material being sent to second specialized lab in the United States for detailed analysis. Now, there's a lot of information in this press release, a lot to digest here. So let's break it down into chunks. Question one here. I'm going to read an excerpt. You say, these test results represent a significant milestone as one of the key goals of our project has been reached. Why is officially achieving 99.9% a significant milestone for Uragold?
Well, actually, it's 99.9 plus. All right, so it's just not 99.9. It's not the definitive number. But what it is we now have a well-recognized, accredited lab that basically said the material we produce is 99.9 plus. Okay, that's already something very, very big. There's a difference between saying we made silicon metal, and we now have an accredited lab that says we made 99.9 plus material, and now we're ready to send it to a specialized lab because they're not running the street, and it's a very specialized market that we're dealing with. So that's massive. I know I sound too excited, but I am internally. It's really big. It's really big. It's really cool.
Clarify for people at home who thought that you had already achieved 99.9 in previous news and previous interviews. How is this different here?
Well, in previous interviews, okay, I was always saying that theoretically we should achieve this. The only thing we divulged is that one test demonstrated that on the first test we produced silicon metal, all right? Now, we've been able to repeat this, and now I have the validation of a renowned laboratory that says we made 99.9 plus, 3N plus. That's a huge word of difference when you talk to investors, okay? It's no more theoretical. It's practical. It's done. It's huge, because now we can start to go talk to the big boys about what we're doing. You know, everybody has already been sniffing over what we're doing. Everybody's curious. Now we're telling them we can do it. We're coming.
All right. And actually, you talk about that validation about theoretical modeling. That was my next question. You had a quote in there also that says, at the outset, theoretical modeling of the process indicated that transforming Uragold quartz into high purity silicon metal was feasible. Today's results now validate it. So talk about that validation and what that means for Uragold in the market.
Well, what that means for Uragold is basically we have laboratory confirmation that our quartz from the Martinville property can be transformed into 3N plus material. That has a very large significance value into it, because when you go do a PEA, when you start to do exploration, when you do all the work required for an exploration company, we already have an idea what the end price is, okay? 98.5 purity material sells for about $3,000 a ton. Based on our experience, and as I think you said in the introduction, we have been approached by traditional silicon metal manufacturers to sell raw quartz to them. But the pricing we would have gotten was nothing above $50 a ton, okay? So we've already, we've already proven that we can take our quartz, our raw quartz, and make it into ultra high value material. We just don't know where the blue sky ends. That's all what we don't know. But we know we can make it into something that's very valuable, and we know we can make it for about the same price as all the traditional manufacturer of the metallurgic grade material. Forget about the solar grade. Once we enter the solar grade, we're in a different universe. We'll be running that one.
Is there anybody else out there that's doing what you're doing right now in terms of you've got high purity quartz and you're producing high purity silicon metal? Is there anybody else doing that right now?
No. And one of the big reasons is the barriers to entry. Surprisingly, with our work with pyrogenesis, we're completely destroying that barrier to entry. And with our worldwide exclusivity on the process, we're sort of creating another barrier to entry, which means nobody can repeat what we're doing unless they're working with us. The barriers to entries are capital costs and basically scale, which are two issues that we're able to resolve with the PureVap, but that's subject for a ton of other interviews that we'll discuss gladly as we move along the process.
All right. Another thing you say in the press release, the program is now moving beyond metallurgical testing. Going to skip some there, and then for the express purpose of determining maximum purity and advancing to the pilot plant stage. So here's the question. With the results you have in hand, is moving to the pilot plant stage already fait accompli, or do you still need to meet a higher purity threshold from the second lab?
No, fait accompli is not a word I like. Basically, it's the next logical step that we got to start to do now, okay? To be totally honest, there is no reason for us to wait until we know if test number 3 made 4N, test number 5 does 6N. I have full confidence that the team at Pyro will figure out how to make the 6N material if we haven't even already made it, all right? So I'm not worried about that. That's no longer an issue in my mind. I'm able to prove to the market I can make 3N plus. The process works. We know where we're going. It's going there. So why wait? There's no reason. I've already, as I said, I can take my quartz. I can make it into material that's valuable. I can produce a PEA on this once I start delineating resources, which now makes sense for me to go do. And basically, as we do this, they'll figure out how to get to the perfect recipe. We may already be there. I don't know. We'll know that when we get the result.
So from where you are right now, you may have already achieved what you want to achieve, or it's just a matter of some tweaks in the process by pyrogenesis.
Exactly.
That's impressive. All right, so if that's the case, pardon me, how far away are you from a pilot plant potentially?
Well, depending how you ask the question, all right? Are you asking me until I have the pilot plant built, all right? Or to take a decision to go to a pilot plant?
You tell me what the logical way. What's the logical?
Well, the logical way is we're pretty close to taking that decision of going that step. We're looking at how to reach that goal and get it there and get it organized and get everything running. Preliminary discussion I've had with Pyro gives us a timeline between 13 to 16 months to get everything operational and ready, which is completely normal.
Okay.
It's completely normal into it. So that's what I'm saying. If it's 13 to 16 months, then why wait another, whatever months it is till we achieve the 9N? We can do it now. We can start now.
Where would it be located? So do you have an idea? Are you going to locate it near your quartz properties?
No, it'd be located in Montreal. It's actually a massive scaling up process, but it's a human-sized scaling up process. We go from lab scale to 200, and we've mentioned that presentation, 200 ton a year. Okay, so it's not that big of a test. I'll be based here in Montreal because Pyrogenesis is based in Montreal. We're based in Montreal.
Right.
The quartz material we'll be processing is, like 2 pickup trucks. We'll have everything we need to do it. But it'll be unique. It'll be there. It'll be easily available to present to investors and to show people. So that's where it is.
You may have answered this question already, but I had to ask you this because it was in the press release. With respect to determining maximum purity as part of advanced and pilot plant stage, you had 22 readings of 100%. Mm-hmm. But as we know, that's because you exceeded the lab's capabilities of impurity detection, okay? Which in of itself is very impressive. So you've got this 3N plus now, which is incredibly impressive. What can you realistically get to, and how do you get there? So we know the how do you get there part, because that was a question I had, tweaks and process. What can you realistically get to, you think? What is the blue sky, or do we not even talk about that right?
What's the blue sky? If we make electronic grade, okay, which is 9N, wow, that's going to be great. But it might be overkill. For the solar business, you need 6N. Maybe 5N is going to work because our cost is going to be cheaper, but maybe 7N is going to make us the killer app that's going to have the guys from Tesla wanted to buy our material. There's different philosophy of everything else. At the end, it's going to be the purity of the material, the way it can flow into all the other issues, but they're not big issues because we have the time to fine-tune all of that as we move forward. Eventually, very soon, we'll be scaling up the companies and putting people that have solar experience and everything else. We're just going to be follow the logical growing step that everybody's doing. So it's like whatever purity, it's impossible to reach 100% purity, but we're going to try to go as high as we possibly can on a regular basis for the cheapest possible. My best answer to it is to do this. So really,
even at 3N plus, even let's say it's 3N, 4N, let's say if that's your max out, you're still getting great value for the quartz.
Yeah, but first of all, let's make it clear. That's not our maximum. That's our minimum.
Yeah, I'm just saying, even if it's the worst case scenario.
I don't even think we've basically said the minimum at 3N plus. Okay? These guys at Pyro were barely tweaking. I know the tweak they did between every one of the tests, so it was like minimal. There's so many tweaks we can do. It's like I could spend hours talking about it, but Barry would be bored to death. But maybe it'll be a somnifair video I can do. Bernard talking about quartz improvement.
Lastly, Bernard, switching gears here, where are you on the spin-out and dividend of your Beauce Gold project? Because you had announced that a couple months ago, and it's a nice little nugget, pardon the pun, for Uragold investors. So where is that standing, and what's next steps for that?
Well, the official work started after the AGM when we got shareholder approval. We started the listing, preparing the listing documents beforehand, but everything starts with the shareholder approval. Now we're just reviewing the material, seeing what we need, lack, and everything else, because I think both of us started together when we were talking about the Beauce Placer project, but this is now much bigger than the Beauce Placer project. This is what we're calling it the Beauce Goldfield. There's tons of materials that we wanted to say because there's some work being done, some discoveries have been done. We're going to have to update our technical report and everything else, but it doesn't fit in what Uragold, the new silicon name that we're going to give it, is fitting into it. Now with the spin-off moving forward, we're going to be able to start talking about it, getting people to realize that the Beauce Goldfield is a massive project. It's really a massive project. And we're going to be excited to be able to talk about it. So we're working now full throttle doing this as we do everything else.
Do you have an estimated time of when the spin-out could be official and Uragold shareholders get a dividend and all those kind of details? Is it a few weeks, a couple of months?
I am trying to get as soon as possible my heads around every one of the issues to deal with. Just doing the listing documents just like doing a prospectus. Answering the tax question about what the tax implication could be for both Uragold and our shareholders, one of the things we have to look at, because we're large shareholders, so we don't want to do this and be taxed on it. Those are all the issues that we're addressing. It's advancing as it should be, as it's going to be, and we state our goals is Q3, and I believe we'll be able to achieve Q3, and I think it's going to be the right timing because I think Q3 is when gold is going to take on, so it's going to be a good standalone company.
Well, Bernard, thanks for joining us today. You're doing incredibly well. on the high purity silicon metal side, and now it looks like everything's going great with both, especially as gold breaks over 1,300 on Brexit concerns and all those things. So we're going to have you back again as always. You were in a bit of a quiet period there, so we're glad to have you back. I think the last time we spoke to you was in March. So,
that's what I was thinking. It was a long time since we spoke. That's probably what I was so rusted.
And I guess you had to kind of remain quiet because you had to wait for the entire process here of pyrogenesis and the lab. So no problem. But we're looking forward to having you back. But in the meantime, congratulations on yet again hitting another milestone. And we're looking forward to hearing more about both the high purity silicon metal side as well as both. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been watching Bernard Tudillon. He's chairman and CEO of Uragold. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol UBR. You can find them on the web at uragold.com, or get to Agoracom, where you can watch all our previous interviews, get caught up on all your due diligence for Uragold, and ready to receive the next set of news. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.